want to go and bring on my first guest here. Ronald Weaver is the chairman of the Environmental and Land Use Law Department in the Tampa office of the 127-member law firm of Stearns, Weaver, Miller, Weissler, Alhadeff, and Sitterson, PA, where his practice includes land use, environmental, real estate acquisition, and real estate finance law. Mr. Weaver received his undergrad degree from the University of North Carolina and his law degree with honors from Harvard Law School. Ronald, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here, Jamie. Thank you for including me.
Absolutely. Let's open up the show with a little bit more about yourself and your background.
Over the years, and I do appreciate you inviting me, I've been selected for inclusion in the Best Lawyers of America in the specialties of land use and zoning law and real estate finance, and I've been selected as one of the top Florida land use attorneys according to Chambers Guide among the legal profession, and in 1996 was inducted into the Tampa Bay Real Estate Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I noticed that. I didn't even know there was a real estate Hall of Fame. I'm hoping maybe I could get in there somehow. Is that is that just for attorneys, or can everyday realtors get in there as well?
Every profession in or near real estate.
All right, that was a hint to put in a nomination for me as well. So if you remember that, please. So tell us a little bit more about your specialty, land use and zoning laws. Elaborate a little bit more on what this is for the audience.
Basically, that's the spectrum of approval processes from zoning to developments of regional impact and the hundreds of different laws, many of them environmental and many of them land use and property rights throughout the state and the federal structure.
Okay, and so what was your inspiration in, first of all, getting into the law practice, and how did you end up in this field of studying law?
Back when I was a very young lawyer, I was a JAG officer at MacDill Air Force Base, and I met an officer named Walter Steinhardt, and he lost his retirement from the state system after he'd retired from the military, and I helped him during one of those 30-minute sessions as a legal assistance officer, and he came back for the next cancellation the next day, and then finally, after about 3 or 4 of those cancellation sessions, I realized he was not going to go downtown where I was sending him to a real lawyer because I was just a brand new baby junior lawyer, but he insisted that he believed I could help him. So I tried. We wrote a letter to the District Court of Appeals, and then about 8 weeks later there was a brief filed by the state, 15 pages of cases why he should lose his retirement in the state system as a former teacher. And I loved the ruling by the court, which simply said the state has tried for 15 pages to take away Mr. Steinhardt's retirement, but for the following reason. And then the court cited the point of law that we had raised very briefly, and I believed in this system all along.
And you're now a partner with your law firm, correct?
I am.
All right, very nice, and congratulations on ascending to that level within your field of practice.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit more about some development in the Tampa Bay region. Your firm has 4 offices in 4 Florida major metros, from Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Tallahassee, and you represent business clients from startups to some of the largest multinational corporations in the world. In terms of real estate development, how is Tampa competing with these cities?
Lately, Miami has been taking a strong lead with respect to residential, but Miami's explosion is not unmatched by some in Orlando and Tampa. About half as much activity can be found in Tampa and in Miami, and recently in Fort Myers. So the statewide picture is very good in real estate, although it has a few little spots in the nature of the recovery.
Now, I noticed there's we see a lot that there's strong foreign investment in Miami's in the hotel industry. What is driving that? I mean, obviously it's waterfront properties, but how can Tampa get in on more of that foreign investment, in your opinion?
Good question. I've noticed over the last 6 to 10 months that some foreign investors will look at Miami, they will engage in the value proposition, and then they'll look around and say, well, what else in Florida has 6 or 8 or 9 of the 10 attributes that make Miami so attractive? And quite frankly, that's why I mentioned some of those markets a while ago, that sometimes you'll find that Naples and Tampa, St. Petersburg are very quickly identified as having most of the same attributes as Miami, but at a better price point.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa is definitely a much cheaper market than Miami, and I think it's a very, underdeveloped area, and I'm just at a loss of why Tampa is just not at the same level as a Miami, because I think it has the same type of swag and appeal of the Miami market, would you not say?
Oh, I think it will. It'll be a little bit like New York and Chicago. I think some international corporations over the last 100 years have chosen Chicago over New York for that very reason, and I think that some people are going to choose Tampa over Miami and Atlanta for the same reason over the next 30 years.
Yeah, I was discussing the same point with a person who's very up to speed with development here in the Tampa Bay region, and one of the points he raised is we're lacking a lot of direct flights from foreign countries into Tampa, and that's something that Miami seems to have a lot. I thought it was a very relevant and valid point. So something for the listeners listeners out there, we're just not getting enough direct flights from international buyers into our market. That could be one of the reasons we're not seeing the development from foreign investors.
We are working on that, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Jamie, because quite frankly, over the last 8 or 10 months, we've added Edelweiss direct flights to Europe. We've added Lufthansa 2 weeks ago, and then Copa to Latin and South America, to the Panama hub of Copa. So we've been working hard on that, and candidly, Joe Lopano and the team at the Tampa International Airport have been working hard on those flights. In fact, if you get a daily flight or to some of these countries, you're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars worth of activity that spring directly from the ability to engage in some of those direct flights weekly or daily.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you see as some of the challenges legally and politically that Tampa is facing with real estate development in your everyday practice?
I think number one is that interest rates remain at a reasonable level, is number one. Number two is the ability of the foreign investor to understand the similarities between Miami and its attraction and the place to put your money. Wherever you are in this world, you may or may not sense some kind of economic or political uncertainty, and coming to the United States is always a very, very wise, secure investment, and Tampa is continuing to ascend to a better place in that regard. Now,
do you think there's a lot of restrictions to development in the Tampa Bay region? I know our mayor is very bullish on development in the Tampa region. What are you seeing from your viewpoint as a land use specialist?
Quite frankly, for the last year or three, the combination of Governor Rick Scott and Bob Buckhorn have been reasonable, and they've moderated many of the laws. Some would say they've moderated them too much, but I think they may have just reached a balance. It's somewhere for Goldilocks. It's not too hot, it's not too cold for real estate development. It may be just about right, because what has happened is that the 20 years of accumulated excesses of regulation, many of which did not achieve a particularly vital environmental purpose, have been moderated by the combination of Governor Rick Scott and Bob Buckhorn. Both of them have looked at what's really important. They still regulate those religiously, but the other details that may not be as important and may not be as consequential to the environment, those they've allowed the economy to also survive.
Yeah, and you've put out a report here. I'm going to take a quick break here, but your firm is very up to speed in development all across Florida. I'm very impressed with this report that you've put out on development in these different communities. And coming back from the break, we're going to talk about some of the projects that are going on in some of these communities. So hang tight, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS WH&Z. We'll be back in a moment.
Programs and guidelines. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in here to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS WH&Z. If you're finding my show on the air for the first time, I invite you to tune in here every Mondays at noon as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off air, you can find me over at my website, tampabayradio.com, where you can find all of my listings as well as many of my pre-listed properties prior to hitting the market via the pre-list tabs over at tampabayradio.com. And you can also catch all the past shows and streamcasts of the Jamie Meloni show just over at the show info tab. Again, tampabayradio.com. We're currently talking with Ron Weaver about Tampa Bay development, and your firm, Ron, has put out a great report on development and what's going on here in the Tampa Bay region. And let's talk a little bit about channel side. All the buzz lately has been focused on this area of Tampa. What are some of the challenges you see that that development in this area is facing?
Over the last 30 years, we've seen Channelside grow from an industrial area where there were donated theaters and donated dance studios and donated little art exhibits to try to get people to recognize Channelside as so close to downtown that it really is a simply natural extension of downtown. And over the last 30 years, that has succeeded beautifully, and the Channelside retail has with the new owner, Jeff Vinnick from Strategic Property Partners, the owner of the Lightning, purchased the Tampa Marriott Waterside Hotel and Marina. He also is planning a new hotel nearby on property. Therefore, that whole area of Channelside with some great new construction of residential over the last couple of years has created one of the most attractive places in America. A while ago, we talked a little bit on this show about Miami versus Tampa. When someone comes to Tampa now, they're going to learn that even Bill Gates' company Cascade has taken an interest in his investment portfolio in this very property. We're now talking about the 24 acres that Jeff Vinnick, the owner of the Lightning, has assembled for world-class mixed use that a lot of people in this country and throughout the world are going to view probably as a very attractive place to focus what they want to do in real estate in America.
Yeah, and I see in your report the Tampa City Council has approved his proposal for I guess this is a new hotel, which will be near the Emily Arena.
Exactly.
Elaborate a little bit on this.
Yeah, 25 stories, 400 rooms, 170,000 square feet for meeting space, which is a fantastic addition to the Tampa Convention Center and to the Waterside Marriott Hotel, which Vinix Group also bought.
And he's also offered land over to the USF for a cancer research center or
for
a medical school. Medical school. I'm sorry, medical school.
So Jeff Vinnick has offered an acre to the medical school at the University of South Florida, which hopefully will enable the medical school to move with all of its excitement and dynamics to that area. There's still talk of potential baseball, but there's been more talk lately about the medical school and about the fantastic combination of Vinnick's hotels, past and future hotels and convention space, and the medical school. But I don't think anyone has ruled out baseball as a possibility for Tampa downtown or West Shore or 2 or 3 other locations.
Yeah, all of us in Tampa would definitely love to see a baseball stadium over in that area. And I think since you brought that up, I think I saw a news article not too long ago where the city of St. Pete is opening up negotiations. I'm speaking kind of off of memory here. Do you know anything about that or what I'm alluding to?
They have a lease through 2027, and there was a legal clause in their lease that said there was a preclusion of talking to others about other locations, but there may be a softening on that you saw a couple of weeks ago. For a year or two, there had been a concern that it might be a legal breach to talk about other locations, but that may be softening now the last couple of weeks.
Okay. So what's going on over in Harbor Island? What have you seen in this area in terms of real estate development?
Well, Blackstone Real Estate Advisors, one of the top real estate companies in the world by far, paid $39 million for the Westin Tampa Harbor Islands, 299 rooms and the like. And then CCP Harbor Island, which is Convergent Management, bought the Knights Point Retail, where one would now see the Jackson's restaurant, for about $7.5 million. So all total, what this means is that Harbor Island, along with 2 or 3 different residential towers by several different groups, including Greg Mender and Phil Smith, and also the related property company, one of the top developers in the world, are all interested in additional residential in Harbor Island. So she is not only a vital part of downtown, in many ways she will continue to be the jewel of downtown as far as how downtown evolves south and how Harbor Island continues to be one of its jewels, along with Vinnick, just across the channel.
Now, what are we seeing in downtown with rental rates and vacancy rates? How's that marketplace doing right now?
Well, there's an improvement there. There was a period of time for about 15 years when office was a little bit tough, but then UBS Realty bought Crescent Bayshore for about $111 million, which is, of course, luxury apartments. They're on the edge of downtown. And then there were a series of other transactions, including Richmond Group of Florida paid $11 million for 4 acres just north of the Selman Expressway, right in the heart of downtown, to build a luxury apartment community of 351 units called Aurora, A-U-R-O-R-A. And then construction on that is expected to begin soon. And then the Carter and Associates LLC has proposed building a residential tower with 23 stories on the Grant block on North Franklin Street, just a couple of blocks north of City Hall. So Midtown is also on the rise with La Meridian, a 4-star hotel, $26 million deal that's part of a lease from the city of the old federal courthouse, one of the most beautiful and historic buildings in America.
Well, there's definitely some exciting information. Now, this report that you have put out, the October 2014 Tampa Bay Real Estate Market Update, is this available for public distribution, or is this an internal report?
If you don't mind putting it on your site, folks are welcome to it. It's not proprietary. They're more than welcome to it. Yeah,
I mean, it's a very interesting report. I didn't even realize so much the development was going on in some of these communities. You broke it down very well, where we talked about what's going on in Channelside and Harbor Island, as well as the downtown. We got developments going on in West Shore, all across the Tampa Bay region as well, and you even get into what's going on in Orlando, Clearwater, and all around the state. Any other projects that you want to promote or discuss here in the few minutes we got left?
West Shore is an exciting Corporate Center 1, 2, and 3, those that are around the International Plaza, are part of a $475 million deal for Parkway Properties to acquire 22 buildings throughout the Southeast, those being the jewels of that combination of properties. And Investors Management Group's paying $24 million for the Captiva Club on Memorial Highway for 357 units. And Highwoods Properties is going to build 176,000 square feet of campus for the Laser Spine Institute in its Avion Park, which is right there at the edge of the entrance to the airport. And it's a $56 million campus with a building that will have 6 stories of surgical facilities and offices expected to be completed in early 2016. So West Shore continues to be the great western jewel to all that we just talked about.
And how involved are you in many of these projects in your firm? I know your firm's quite large. I'm sure you got a hand in a lot of these different developments. What's going on with that?
we've been involved in probably about a third of these at some point in time.
Very nice. Well, yeah, if you don't mind, I'm going to put this report up on the website, Tampa Bay Radio. It's a lot of great information for the listeners out there, and we'll have that up here probably by midweek. And it's something I highly recommend people taking a look at and getting excited about the development that's going on in our area.
Thank you, Jamie.
And Ron, real quick, before I let you go off the air, how can people interested in your services and your firm get in touch with you and your website and all that information?
Well, we appreciate you thinking of us for this show. That was very kind of you to introduce us to your audience, and for your audience to be kind enough to give us a little of their time in the middle of the day to talk a little bit about something as exciting as Tampa real estate.
Yeah. And your website is stearnsweaver.com, correct?
It is.
All right. Well, Ron, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been great talking to you, and we'll talk again soon.
And Stella, there's no such thing as too much turkey.
Okay, then I'm ready for next year.
Thank you all.
Ron, thanks a lot and have a great week.
Thank you.
All right, great information there. I mean, I didn't realize, until I read this report, all the different development going on in the region, and something, I've had a number of different people on talking about different projects, but this report, which I'll get up on the Tampa Bay Radio site very soon here, talks about a lot of different development going on here in the area. Some I'm very excited about. Would you not say?
Yeah, it's actually very convenient to know that there is one source that we can go to and find this info, as opposed to, going through newspapers. And so it's great that he's written this report.
Yeah, and I've talked with a lot of commercial brokers in the the Tampa region, and specialize in the commercial market in Channelside downtown, and they said it's a blossoming market. It's a time to really get involved if you're an investor in the area and it specializes and wants to be downtown. I've had CUPS, the Channelside Urban Professional Society, on a few times. This is a social networking group that is formed, to promote development in the Channelside district. There's a lot happening in our district, and something to be very excited about. I go to a lot of different networking events. I've seen the mayor out promoting these different projects, and it's something I'm very excited about. Hopefully, Tampa will soon be on the same level as a Miami market, which is something I think a lot of us here in the Tampa region would like to see. So if you're just tuning in here, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS WHNZ. Coming back from the break, we're going to be talking with expert contributor Kenny Gannon. He is a loan officer with iMortgage. And we're also going to be talking with Laura Kennedy about the Tampa Bay Parade of Homes, which is an annual showcase of homes in the Tampa Bay region. And also we'll be talking with marketing manager for Homes by West Bay, Janice Snow. So take a moment here and invite you over to my website, which is tampabayradio.com. And again, you can find all of my pre-listed properties as well as all of my listings over there as well. And also you can catch all the past shows of the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show, again, over at tampabayradio.com. We'll be coming back from the break in just a moment, so please stay tuned. And you're listening again to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS WHNZ.